Well, welcome and God bless. Welcome to Safe Harbor Podcast. And I've got a very special guest here, a friend of mine, Tom Johnson. And we've entitled this podcast Overcomer. And I just want to let you know that we will be on the Truth Be Told Radio Network on Friday evenings at 10 p.m. on Truth Be Told Radio Network. And also it will be on Rumble, X, Twitch, YouTube. And then I'll post this on my YouTube page too, and my Facebook page is Wes Bears. My YouTube page is Safe Harbor with Wes Bears. So tune us in, give us a like, thumbs up, and if you'd like to leave a comment, you can. So without further ado, I'd like to address one of my favorite friends. I was just thinking, this is Tom Johnson, and Tom, I was thinking about it. We have known each other for half of our lives. We've known each other for 37 years.
Right.
So we got a little history. And so tell us a little bit about you, Tom. So get us started with you.
Well, I'm thankful we're still talking after all that time and everything. So my name is Tom Johnson. I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada in 1951. In 1959, my father moved us to Southern California because he couldn't take the cold weather anymore and everything. So I lived in Southern California for most of my school years and everything. So I went through elementary school, junior high, high school, and got to the point where, I graduated in 69. And in 1971, I got that wonderful letter from Uncle Sam saying, I want you. And so what I did is I went down to the recruiter and found out there was a program that instead of doing 2 years and probably pretty much going to Vietnam, I could enlist for an extra year and I could go to Germany in Europe.
Oh, cool.
And everything. So that's what I did. One ironic thing is when I finally went through all my training and everything else, got on the plane, we landed in Frankfurt, and we were coming off the plane in Frankfurt, and the military had a newspaper called Stars and Stripes.
Oh, wow.
And that was in the little mechanical box where you put a quarter in, pull it out, that type of thing. Well, headlines on the Stars and Stripes was, no more draftees to Nam. So it was like, oh no, and everything. But it really turned out to be a big blessing for me. I spent 30 months over in Germany.
Wow.
Got to go all over Europe when we weren't doing our thing. I worked on the Pershing missile. It was a 2-stage nuclear warheaded missile and everything. And when we weren't basically on status doing our little war games thing, then we were traveling northern Italy, France, Austria, all over the place. So it was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool.
When I got out in 1974, I used the GI Bill and became a machinist.
Wow.
My dad was a machinist, so that sparked my interest in everything else. And so I went through, it was a 4-year program and everything. So I was a machinist for 45 years.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time.
That is a long time.
Kind of glad to retire. Anyway, we did, I was able to do projects for the different, companies that involve NASA.
Right.
We did this one project where we worked on Polaris missiles and everything.
Wow.
And that's where I met Dave. He worked right next to me.
Okay.
And I met Dave and Jerry and everything. And so we worked together for 8 years, I think.
Oh, cool.
And but anyway, I was recently divorced from in that time, and Dave and Jerry were involved in a ministry that was a Bible study ministry. And they invited me to come down to San Diego and live with them and everything. So that's how I got involved with that ministry.
Okay.
and it's also where I got born again.
Awesome.
I was 37 years old when I was born again, so I had a lot of old man thinking to kind of get rid of.
Yeah.
There was one statement that was made to me at that time that kind of did the old switcheroo for me, and that was the gentleman kind of challenged me. He said, "The Bible is the Word of God. Now that's either true or it's not true.
That's correct.
If it's not true, we're all going to hell in the handbasket.
That's right.
If it is true, then what have you got to lose? You got everything to gain."
That's right.
Now that hit my chest
I'm
like
with you there.
a big explosion.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's how I got to the point where I was born again.
Wow.
And everything else. And that's also how I got to San Diego and everything.
Okay, cool.
So then along with that, a few years later, that's when you and Linda came into my life.
That's when we moved to San Diego.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we met and everything. And not only that, you became my brother-in-law.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
That
right.
was, gosh, that was a wonderful time.
Happy day, man.
That was many happy days
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
everything. So, and then from there, you moved to Virginia,
Yep.
and you were up there for a while, and we moved to Florida.
Yeah. Let me butt in right there because
Sure.
it was some interesting things happened right in that little bracket of time.
Many.
After we met, you got married to
Yes.
Linda's sister, and shortly after that, we moved to Tallahassee.
Right,
We went to Tallahassee actually for I think like 13 or 14 months,
right,
and when we decided that wasn't the place to be, we moved back to San Diego.
right,
We actually moved into an apartment with you guys.
right.
So we shared an apartment for a while. We had your barking cat. I'll never forget that. And it was funny because shortly after that, we moved out. We got a place, and then later, eventually, you and Kay moved into one of the houses we were renting. So we actually lived together 2 times
Right.
in San Diego, which was kind of cool. It was kind of fun. So yeah, and then we went to Virginia, and you went to Florida. So I'm sorry to butt in, but I just wanted to throw that
Oh,
in there.
no.
Yeah.
In fact, that brings up when we were living with you, you bought yourself a keyboard.
Yeah.
And you had always been a musician keyboardist.
Yeah.
And everything. And then, I remember one day there was a guitar hanging around, and you said, "Do you know anything about the guitar?" And I said, "Yeah, I know G, C, and D, and that's it."
That was enough.
And God, we spent probably an hour, just going through making some music. You doing the majority of it, and me just sitting there going G, C, D,
Yeah.
now D, G, C.
Yeah.
Anyway, you taught me how to enjoy music, okay? But you also taught me not only to make a joyful noise, which we did a lot, but you taught me how blessed I could be by giving to other people for the enjoyment. And I'm sure you feel the same thing when you sing and play for people.
Yeah.
People are blessed to hear you, but they don't get to feel that blessing that you get when it comes back.
Yeah, and talking about the music, we had some good times, and I remember we had a thing we called the Coyote Jams, and we got together. I don't even remember exactly where, but it was somebody's house, and he lived in a canyon.
Right.
We had gotten a bunch of guys together. We were just playing music, and there were coyotes that were howling.
Right.
We called it the Coyote Jams.
Yeah, we were there, and it wasn't all the same people that showed up. It was different people.
Right.
But we had a really good afternoon one time. Sun was going down.
Yeah.
And everything else is, and so we just finished up doing like a 5-minute free flow jam. and
Yeah.
everything, and thought, okay, well, that's it. We'll wrap it up and whatever. And this voice came out of nowhere saying, play that one again.
Some fun times, and that actually led to you and I recording a CD together,
Right,
where we had actually written and played some songs. So we had some originals and some that we borrowed from folks,
right,
and recorded a CD in a guy's garage. Had a
right.
studio set up there. That was just a priceless time.
That was, I mean, that cemented you in my heart
Oh
by,
man,
by experiencing all of that.
yeah,
You
it
know,
was fun.
it's
It
like
was
we
so
were
fun.
getting closer and closer and closer. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
We've had some great memories, man.
So
So, all right. Well, I butted in. What else? Then you went to Florida.
right, right, and everything. And after we were in Florida, I found myself in a situation to where I moved to Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama,
Okay.
and everything. Kay and I had gone our separate ways, and whatever. And the and the unique thing about that is I had moved in with someone that I knew, and everything, and I moved there on Thanksgiving Day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I believe it was the first week of December that you gave me a call and you said, where's Birmingham from Huntsville?
Right.
And
That's
I
right.
said, it's about an hour down the road.
Yeah.
He goes, we're moving to Birmingham.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like we're back together
That's right.
and everything. So
Right.
that was that. I look back on that and saying God had so many things going on for you and I at the time. It was, and we didn't even know it.
That's fun. Man. Those are some great tie-ins together. So,
Right.
well, I called this podcast Overcomer because whenever I think of an overcomer, many times I think about you because I realize some of the challenges you've had to face, and you've faced them with such a great attitude. To me, it was just like, oh my goodness. To me, if I would look up overcomer in the encyclopedia, I think your picture would probably be there because you've had some tough things to face, and you faced them with a smile, and I've got a couple scriptures I want to read that made me think about this,
Sure.
about being an overcomer. Just a few I want to read. 1 John 5, verses 4 and 5 says, whoever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. So who is he who overcomes the world? But he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. That's just a great verse explaining that. And another one is Romans 12:21. And it says, be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. That's how we become overcomers. We don't focus on the evil, we focus on the good. So, and then one more I want to read is in 1 John 4:4. It says, you are of God, little children, and you've overcome them, because greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. And so, to be an overcomer, first of all, you really got to be a believer, and you got to believe that God will help you get through this. And so one of the great things about being on a podcast like this is we can share our experiences and explain how God has walked us through this stuff. So do you have any comment about that or anything you want to say?
Sure. Definitely. For me, believing is the bottom line. It's like I stated earlier, it's the Bible's either not true or it is true, and you got to believe it. Hebrews 11:16 basic says, and without faith, it is impossible to please God.
That's right.
Because anyone who comes to him must believe that, number one, he exists.
That's right.
Is he there?
Yeah.
And that he rewards those who earnestly seek him.
That's great.
So, again, the big one is, does he exist? Do you believe it? And another thing would be when Jesus was talking about moving the mountain.
Right.
And I don't have that scripture with me right now, but basically Jesus said, if thou believest, you can move that mountain.
Yeah. Right.
And that's basically taught me a twofold thing here.
Okay.
First, you got to believe. Then, whatever you're believing for happens. Okay, it's not I see it happen, then I believe. It's I believe first. Now I have talked to people and I've told people that, and I'll tell you what, I'll say the worst reaction I got was, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Right.
I got to believe first. That sounds like a trap. And I said, well, I can't help you there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm just going to talk to the believers and everything. So, but one thing I would like to say about that believing thing is that's what made me an overcomer. And I'll get into that in just a second.
Okay.
Whatever. But I want to say that while I was living here in Huntsville and everything else, I have an older brother that was living in California.
Okay.
And he was in the service just prior to me being in the service, but he was over in Vietnam.
Wow.
And he was exposed to Agent Orange. So he was having a hard time. He was having medical problems. He was having neuropathy in his legs. He was having heart problems, a multitude of stuff going on. So anyway, I bought a house here in Huntsville, and with the intent of asking him to come out and live with me. It's a 2-story house. Single guy doesn't need a 2-story, but David agreed to come on out and everything else.
Okay.
So we would take care of him. I'd run him down to the VA hospital in Birmingham when he needed it, and whatever. And but he applied for Agent Orange compensation a long time ago, and he got denied. Because he was in the Navy, and they were only giving it to the ground troops.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, but David's ship was like half a mile off the coast. Planes would come in, drop the Agent Orange, and the breezes would just drift that stuff over his ship.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but at the time, the powers that be said, no, you're in the Navy, you don't get it. Well, finally, they said, okay, you can get it. So they gave him a large chunk of money, and a monthly payment and whatever. So with that large chunk of money, what he did, because he was really hurting, as far as walking and that type of stuff.
Right.
We gutted the upstairs bathroom and made it into a full-on handicap bathroom.
Okay.
And it was like a no-step, get into the shower situation, new toilet, new sink, new everything.
Right.
We also, since I lived in a 2-story house, we put in like a Stairmaster.
Oh, that's great.
Get up and down and all this other stuff. He also bought himself a few mobility carts. One was a tear down that we could put in the back of the van, and that way I could take him to the grocery store, put the thing together. He could tool around the grocery store all he wanted.
That's great.
And whatever. So we had that. He also bought, a wheelchair for upstairs, a walker for upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah.
So he was very, very comfortable, in his last years.
Good.
He finally ended up having kidney failure. And these are all symptoms of the Agent Orange.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So he finally passed away. Now, in the meantime, I was having some problems with my right leg. And what it was is I had a blockage in my main artery. So they went in, they put a stent in, you know, blew up the balloon thing and made it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that only lasted about a year. So then we had to go in and do it again.
You did that a number of times, didn't you? I think.
Yeah, there was like over an 8-year period, I had 6 operations.
I think I remember you telling me every time you did one. So
Right, right. And they all happened around Christmas time. I don't know if that means anything or not.
I don't know.
Anyway, finally went in, and my vascular doctor said, "Well, Tom, we've reached a point where we got to make a decision."
Right.
He said, "Well, I can't repair the vein anymore. That's just gone.
Right.
So we can either take the vein out of your left leg and put it in your right leg, and maybe it'll work."
Wow.
And I put emphasis on that for this next statement.
Yeah.
I said, "The hell with that. Let's take the leg."
Yeah.
Because if it don't work, I got 2 screwed up legs.
Yeah. Right.
And everything else. So we went ahead and scheduled it and everything. So I'm in the hospital getting prepped and everything else. And he comes in to talk to me and says, "Well, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing and whatever." And he says, "Oh, by the way," he says, "you may have a problem with balance after we come out of surgery."
Right.
Well, either I didn't hear it or he didn't say it, but not only does the body go into shock when you have an amputation, the brain goes into a shock.
Oh, man.
And the reason why, for 70 years, I'm walking around on both legs.
That's right.
I got a 2-leg mentality.
Me too.
Right. Now, it's kind of like when I had the old man mentality.
Yeah.
I got to change it over to the renewed mind, 1-leg mentality.
Okay.
And with that, I really had to stop and think, because my natural reaction was, if I'm in the walker or whatever,
right,
is if I need to reach over to my right, which was the leg that was missing,
yeah,
I'd want to step it. Okay, and
right.
I did that once. I was home from the hospital and living in the house, like on my 3rd day.
Right.
And I was standing in front of the counter and everything else, and there was something I wanted to get from over here. So I let go. And didn't do it on purpose, just did it.
Right.
And then took a step. And when I got about here, I went, "I'm in trouble."
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And I hit the ground.
Oh,
And
man.
everything else. So anyway, I was able to grab my walker, and somehow I was able to struggle myself up and get there. And then I remember yelling at myself, "Don't you ever do that again."
Yeah.
You know, and the thing was, well, my brain said so. My brain said so.
Right.
So I had to get to the point where if I was going to move, if I was going to do anything, if I'm going to get up or whatever, stop.
Yeah.
Brain, shut up. Because that feeling is still there. That was 5 years ago. That feeling is still there.
Yeah.
So
well, let me butt in real quick because while you're telling me this story, I remember that after your surgery, they took you out and put you in a room, supposedly a room that wasn't even ready for you, or they didn't even know you were coming.
Right.
And didn't you wind up spending like that night in a cold room with no blanket? Do I remember that?
Well, I had blankets. Basically, I was in the an ambulance had to take me from the hospital over to the rehab center, and I spent 2 weeks at the rehab center and everything else. So anyway, we're waiting all day long for an okay from the insurance company for me to go to this rehab center. So, and there's like 6 or 7 rehab centers here in Huntsville. Okay. But unfortunately, the insurance I had was not the best in the world. So we had to wait on where who would accept me.
Right. Right.
So anyway, 8 o'clock at night. Again, it's December, and it's like it's not quite snowing outside, but it's pretty darn cold.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they got an ambulance to come over. They put me on the gurney. The ambulance drivers are like all bundled up and
Right.
scarves and face masks and beanies on. And they said, ready to go? I'm going, I guess. So they wrapped me up in a couple, excuse me, thick blankets and everything else.
Right.
We got in the back of the ambulance and we go over. And of course, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock now. And they knock on the door. And
Right.
somebody's supposed to meet us. And nobody comes to the door.
Oh man.
And everything. So they got a key code. So the ambulance driver's doing the key code thing. Doesn't work. Key code. They call up their boss.
Right.
And they said, well, there's supposed to be somebody there
Yeah.
and everything. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on? It's getting a little chilly out here, people.
Yeah.
So anyway, we see a nurse go walking by
Okay.
in the hallway. So
Yeah.
we're like, open up.
Yeah.
And so she comes over and she says, well, I didn't know we were getting any new patients.
Oh wow.
So anyway, they basically put me in the hallway, still on the gurney and everything else.
Right.
And until like 8 o'clock in the morning when the shift change came in.
Wow.
So, but anyway.
Well, I remember you telling me that story, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know how I would have handled that. I wasn't there, but I don't think it would have been pleasant.
Well, it
to
was,
me,
plus it was still very painful for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's like it was to the point where, how sometimes when you just flex your leg,
Yeah.
whether it's going to be just to lift your heel off or something. Well, when I did that, pain level went to about 12. And the way I was dealing with it on the bed is, I would flex until the pain level got to here.
You're right.
And then I would okay, roll over. So.
And you probably didn't have any pain meds or anything. Nobody took care of you, right?
They had pain meds, but I needed more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. It was the pain meds. When I laid down flat and didn't move, pain meds were wonderful.
Right.
But as soon as I went to go move, didn't matter if I just took them or took 12.
Wow.
So, but that was that.
Well, this is important, and I'll bring it up later. I wanted to bring that point up because it's when I think of you as an overcomer, that was one of the incidents I remember is that you got through that. And I was just amazed that, that even happened to you, number one, but that you got through it seemingly so successful, at least on my end. I'm not sure that's what we looked at it at the time, but
I'll tell you what, I didn't complain. The nurses even said, Tom, we've had people like in your situation come in and they keep us up all night.
Yeah.
But you don't and everything else. But also a long, long time ago, it was explained to me that number one, we have an adversary,
Right.
And he's called the devil, is called Beelzebub, and all these different names, and he is also called the Prince of the Power of the Air. And what I was taught a long, long, long time ago is what we speak comes out into the air.
Yeah.
And he's got ammunition.
Mm.
God knows what's going on up here, but he don't, and everything else. So why complain? Why open myself up for more confusion or influence for him to pour on me? So that's why I think you told me a long time ago when you did a study on Proverbs, that what is it? A wise man controls his tongue.
Right.
And that's the reason why. So I didn't. So like I said, I didn't complain. I might have complained to you once or twice, but I could do that because you were a believer and you could pray for me.
Yeah, but you didn't. Honestly, you didn't really complain. That's which amazed me. I
Right.
think I would have been complaining. But
So,
you did great. So,
but I want to say something. Believe, like I say, overcoming to me is believing.
yeah,
That's all. And in my situation, for a while there, I was starting to feel like Job. Divorce, got the leg thing going on when I had two of them. Got the
right,
leg thing going on when I had the one of them, and everything else. And not only that, like I say, when I was home from I was back in my house not even a week when a drunk driver came by and
Mm,
and totally destroyed my car in my
I
driveway.
remember that.
You know,
Right.
and I'm going, oh boy, what do we got to do here to get out of
We're
this?
going to chase them down the street. That's for sure.
So, but so anyway, like I say, I didn't have all the problems that Job had. I didn't lose anybody's life or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But I started feeling like Job. It's like, okay, what's next?
Wow.
But with like with Job, it wasn't Job being punished for anything. He got stuck in a spiritual battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, he stayed faithful, and that's why when the spiritual battle ended, he got done. He got paid back double because
Double. Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
Correct.
So I'm sitting here going, well, I don't know what double is, but I'm hoping I get it soon. So, but
Yeah.
like I say, believing, prayer, singing in prayer,
Right.
that got me through the night. So, and then I discovered something about my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to go into that part I talked to you about and everything else.
Yeah.
There's been time, I'm 37 since I've been born again. I'm 74 now, going to be 75 soon. A long time, and my believing has had ups and downs. Sometimes it's the easiest thing I've ever done. Sometimes it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Okay.
And everything else. So part of that was, like I told you earlier, you and I, we have a heart relationship. You're closer to me than my brother or a brother or whatever.
Amen. I understand.
And now with Jesus, I was close to Jesus, but I wasn't that close. It was like Jesus was a friend of mine. He did things for me and everything else, but he always sat next to me.
Right.
He didn't sit here.
Right.
He sat here.
I got
and I couldn't comprehend when people like you saying that you have Jesus in your heart. And I'm going, how do you do that? So anyway, long time ago, I was listening to a radio broadcast, and I can't remember what the name of it, but it was a Bible broadcast.
Right.
And there was the guest speaker was a neurosurgeon, and he was saying that he just got back from Italy and how he went on a tour of the Sistine Chapel.
Gotcha.
And for everybody listening, if you can imagine, you've probably seen this. There's one painting in the Sistine Chapel where it's called the Creation.
Mm-hmm.
God on one side, you've got Adam on the other side.
All right.
And you got the two fingers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, then he explained something to me. And what I did, since I'm a photographer, I look at things a lot in detail, like what do you got here and whatever. So I made a printout of what I want to share with you.
Okay, cool.
This is God's side of the picture.
Gotcha.
And Adam is over here.
Yeah.
All right? But then he said when he saw that, there was, number one, from the top photography point of view, it's a dynamic, powerful, inspiring picture or painting.
Amen.
Now, Let me get this straightened out a little bit.
Looks
Now,
right to me.
if you look, you've got God in the middle, reaching out. If you look at his robe, it's flowing all around,
Right.
right? And the first thing this is that looks like the cross section of a brain.
It does. You're right.
The robe is like a brain.
Huh.
You've even got a little scarf coming down here to hook up to the spinal cord.
The green. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I saw that, let's see, it was kind of like
Mm.
Jesus went from here to here,
Oh, cool.
you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to sit there and say, well, I don't get that anymore. I don't get that anymore. You know, but I've got all the power, the forgiveness, the greatness of God here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
now you, I keep my wanting to put my finger through to you,
Yeah. It's backwards. It's backwards.
but you have God in your brain. Linda, your wife, has God in her brain.
Right.
Right? But for me, that was a revelation because I've got my God in my brain. He's all powerful. He's
Right.
all forgiving. He's
Mm.
all everything that he is, and he's right here with me.
Amen.
And
That's awesome.
that
That's
that
awesome.
that that made me so full of joy. You know, I almost
Yeah.
broke down. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
now to go back to my born again statement challenge, the Bible is the Word of God.
Amen.
Either that's true or it's not. If it's not true, then we're all going to hell in a handbasket.
Unfortunately.
Now, if it is true, I got this.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Yeah. Put that up again on that side of your head again. That's a great picture. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a great
So, anyway,
that's a
now,
great prop.
now when I was at home, you know, I went through physical therapy and everything else. I have a prosthetic leg that I tried 3 years to try and master.
Right.
And all I did was learn how to fall down with that thing. And the reason being is, let's see, when you have a leg, I wish I had a spoon or something. Oh, I got a pen. You know, it's like this is your bone that goes from your hip, and you got your knee down to your ankles.
Right.
Okay? But it's a solid, it don't bend, you know, type of thing to hold you up.
Right.
Okay? And then, like I say, you know, I got 70 years with 2 legs. This is important. Now, the muscles that go around support the leg.
Right.
You know, when the muscles move, the leg moves like this
Gotcha.
or like this
Mhm.
or whatever. Now, I'm an above the knee amputee. So I'm like this.
Right.
Okay. There's no, my hip is up here.
Right.
My prosthesis goes here.
Right.
All right. Now, you can take your thigh right now if you want to and wiggle it around.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I put the prosthesis on, you know, the prosthesis is steady down here,
Right.
but up here is all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my brain has deleted balance. so I got a problem.
You're right.
So
Right.
now you see a lot of people that have amputations just exactly like mine.
Right.
And they've been able to master walking with their prosthesis.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was, I'm not going to say unfortunate. I'm going to say I was one that could not do it, you know.
Right.
And so I finally told my therapist, we ain't doing this no more. You know, I'm wasting my money and your time,
Yeah.
whatever. Now, I have all the respect in the world for those that are able to do that. You know, watching the Paralympics to me was just, I would just sit there going, oh my God,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
people are doing what?
Right.
And
Exactly.
everything. So, but now, now it's like it was easier for me to get around using a walker, using a wheelchair. Uh, I will say my one let's see, prosthesis. That's the people that made my prosthetic leg.
Right. Gotcha.
We were talking, and she says, "Well, how you doing?" I says, "Well, I'm still, thank God, getting groceries, delivered to me.
Yeah.
Having to go to the grocery store and everything else." And she says, "Well, you know, why don't you drive?" And I said, "Number one, I don't have a car."
Right.
And I said, "Number two, I don't have the right leg." And when David was alive and had his neuropathy, we would play driving console games. We had the steering wheel, we had the brake pedal,
Right.
all this other
Right.
stuff. And that was to develop his situation and everything else. And she goes, "Well, why don't you just go out and buy a car and drive?" And I thought, I can do that, because I can practice on my console game. Now it's a race game, so I can't. I'm not gonna win any races and
Right.
everything else. But because her boss was an above the knee amputee, and this guy, I met him once, and he says, "Well, here's what you can do," and he literally ran up and down the aisle. Okay.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, I said, how do you drive if you have this big thing, over the gas pedal?
Yeah.
You're afraid you're gonna, whatever." And he said, "No." Now his attachment was a plug-in attachment.
Okay.
Mine was a cover attachment, like
I gotcha.
big tight sock.
I
His was an attachment to where he had an apparatus like a hole, and he could click his leg in.
Okay.
And I'm going to scoot back. Well, no, it's not going to work. So he sits down and he says, "I just grab the leg and go whoop, and it sticks up straight."
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And he says, "I drive on my left foot." So I said, "Okay, whatever." So I went home. We scheduled another appointment for me about 2 weeks down the road. So I went, practice, whatever. And I said, "I can do this." So went on the internet, found a vehicle I liked, got my next door neighbor, Blondie, to take me down, drop me off at the dealership.
Right.
I was buying it one way or the other, but it was a good deal for me.
Okay.
And plus they had a guarantee on it, or a warranty on it. If I didn't like it, bring it back.
Okay. Cool.
So I went back, talked to the salesman, went into the dealership with my walker, went over to the first desk and sat down because it's a long walk. So the salesman I talked to on the phone comes walking and says, "Well, come on over here to my desk." I said, "No, we're here. We're stuck."
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I bought the car. He said, "Do you want to test drive it?" And I said, "No." I said, "Does it go good?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Okay, I'll take it. You got the warranty. If I don't like it, I'm coming back."
Right.
So buy it, get it all the paperwork, whatever. Get over there, get myself in the car, and he's standing right there. And so I get in, and I'm like, "Okay, this, that, and the other thing. There, do this, do that. Okay, start the car up and everything else." And he's looking at me like, "You're going to drive it?"
Yeah.
"Yeah." I said, "I'll tell you which way I'm going to go home. So if you want to stay off the road until I get home."
Yeah. Right. Oh boy.
But anyway, made it home. I think last time you were up here, you might have noticed I've got a very large church across the street from me.
Yeah. I remember that.
So every day I'd go out there and get in the parking lot and just drive around
Right.
the block, all of a sudden, get used to it. And that's how I learned how to drive.
That's awesome.
So
But see, to me, that's why you're an overcomer.
Well,
Because most people would have given up, in the circumstances.
right.
You said, "I'm going to find a way." And that's what makes you stand out as an overcomer to me because you don't settle for
Right.
second best. You go for the best. You want the gold and you go for it.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. You know, it wasn't me that said I need to overcome this or
Yeah.
that or whatever. I woke up in the morning and I had a conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he did talking.
There you go.
I remember
Awesome.
it was probably 4 days after I got home. You know, it wasn't God's still voice. Tom, wake up!
Yeah. Wow.
And it's about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Everything else, and he says, "Let's go do laundry."
Oh my goodness.
You know, and I hadn't even thought about what was going on.
Wow.
Grab, I had my laundry in my basket. Get in the wheelchair and wiggle my way, and I stop in front of the washer and the dryer.
Right.
I'm not thinking anything. It's just
Right.
blank. Okay.
Right.
Put your right hand on the dryer over here. Put your left hand on the washer over here.
Right.
Lean over, get your nose over your toes, and stand up on your one leg.
There you go.
So I did. I had my laundry basket over here on my right side. And he says, "Okay, now sit down, put the basket on the left side." Get up, pulled up the lid and whatever, and started just, reaching with my left hand.
Yeah.
Now, while I'm doing this, he's talking to me. He says, "Now, here's what you need to think
Wow.
and master." He
That's
says,
awesome.
"Now, if you just held on with your left hand, with your left leg,
Yeah.
and started bending over and putting things in this way, we're tipping over again.
All right.
There's no support there.
Mm.
But this way, with the left hand, the right leg, or the left leg, and
Right.
everything," he says, you got your center of gravity right here.
That's awesome.
And
Awesome.
there were so many times, I called you.
Yeah.
"Hey, Wes, I did the laundry today."
Yeah. Now it's funny you say that because I was just thinking about. I just talked to you. I think this past week, and you're telling me you're out in your yard working, and I said, "Oh my goodness, look at this, man! This is so awesome! You were out working on your yard. I mean,
Again, and that was just, because I got a bunch of pine needles around,
yeah,
and I hadn't cleaned, and I usually clean them out every year when I had 2 legs.
yeah,
And it's been 4 years, almost 5. So the pine needles they're up there, but poison oak was like growing out.
right,
Well, it's
right.
like, I remember I looked at it and says, "Well, I'm going to have to hire somebody. I
Mm.
don't know how much it's going to cost me, or whatever." But there again, you don't have to hire somebody. You
Wow,
can do it yourself.
right,
And here's how you're going to do it. You're
Yeah.
going to get in your little electric cart. You're going to go over here. You're going to rake all those things out. You're going to put them in bags. You're going to put them on the front yard. And I mean, so
I'm not gonna forget that picture with that brain, man. Because
right. Well, I'll
so
tell you what. That's what made. I mean, boom.
Yeah. that is so awesome. Hey, and I want to break in here because I mean we
Sure.
could go on for. I know we could go on for hours talking about this
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I also know that you've gotten involved in a photo club
Yes.
and you
Yes.
go out to the botanical gardens and things like that.
Right. Right.
Tell us a little bit about that. We got a little bit of time left, so tell us about that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've always been interested in photography
Yeah,
and everything else. I bought my first camera when I was over in Germany and
Okay.
everything else. But I'm not to get technical and everything, but all I took was snapshots.
yeah,
Oh, there's a picture. Boom. There's a picture.
Yeah,
Boom. There's a
right.
picture. Boom. All right. I retired in about 11 years ago.
okay.
All right. And before I retired, I discovered the photo club here in town. So I went to a couple meetings,
Right.
and what they do is first week of the month, we meet twice. First week of the month, they have educational thing. Guest speaker, this is how you do this. This is how
Right.
you do that. This is how you compose stuff. Here's a different way of doing this. The second meeting that we have, which is the third week, is they also have photo competitions, different subject matters and whatever,
Right.
and anybody can enter.
Right.
And then they have judging, first, second, third place, that type of thing. Now you don't win anything other than bragging rights.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
That's cool though.
so anyway, I've been a member with them, gosh, 10 years now.
Right.
I've learned a lot. I've learned how to take what they call a photograph, and they basically say you got to take 10,000 snapshots to make a photograph.
Wow.
And everything. But that's what I do. I got a couple here, like this one. This is one of my favorites. It's the
Okay.
one I got up on my wall. And
Okay.
this one reminded me of John 8:12.
Okay.
Okay? And let's see. Where are you, John 8:12? Here we go. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but he will have the light of light. So this little leaf
Wow.
coming out of the darkness into the light.
That's awesome.
Now, when I go to the botanical gardens, and because I spend a lot of time there because they got a paved route that I can go. but when I go in to the administration building and then walk out into the gardens, I just casually say, Father, show me what you look like today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And this is one of those pictures.
Wow. That's very cool.
And
Very cool.
so there was that one. There's another one here.
Oh, that's nice.
Show me what you look like today.
Yeah.
Now this one won one of the competitions, and I got bragging rights.
Yeah. And you told me that I think just recently you became the person they were taking pictures of. You were the model.
Right. We had one of the educational nights
Yeah.
was portraits.
Mm.
So a lot of people are retired photographic people in the club, but they've got all this equipment. So they set up shades and lights and backgrounds and everything else like that.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to have a recent picture so I could send you and
Yeah.
my sister and some other people
Yeah.
what I look like now
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I asked one of my friends to come over and say, would you take a picture of me? And he
Right.
said, sure. So he went to go get his camera and he was fooling with it and whatever. And I'm sitting in front of this thing with a bunch of side light on me.
Right.
And whatever. Next thing I do, I look up, I got 10 cameras pointing at me.
Wow. That's
And-
cool.
And everybody wanted to get my portrait because of course they all knew I was in a mobility, but they're still amazed that I get out and do pictures.
Understandable. Yeah.
No, I got my little tripod, or sometimes what I'll do is I'll hold the camera upside down and go down like this so I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then push it and everything else. But I've gotten some pretty nice pictures.
Yeah. You're a true marvel to me, man. So
And but that's it.
you amaze me. So, Tom, if you would, you've gone through so much and you've come out so victorious in my mind. And I know there's going to be people listening to this that maybe they're not there. And I'm going to ask you, would you pray for people that God will enlighten, them so they can become an overcomer too? Could you do that?
Most definitely. Father, first off, we just thank you for the relationship that we have with you. And that's not just for me and Wes, that's for all believers. Now, we know that you know who you're going to open your door to. You know who you've recently opened your door to. And in a lot of ways, people that have spent their whole life with you, but maybe still need that little bit of extra push, kind of like, believing is easy and believing is hard. And I just hope my example will help them through the hard days. Because, Father, you're just so good. You take care of each and every one of us. You've given us all your promises, all your greatness, all your forgiveness.
Yes.
And we just thank you so much for it. And God, I want to end this prayer in a strange way. God, I want you to do this to everybody. Amen.
Amen. That's awesome. Hey, I was going to read 2 more verses and then we're going to close up, Tom.
Gotcha.
They're from Revelation chapter 2, but verse 21 says, to him who overcomes, this is Jesus talking, to him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. That's coming up for us. And then also in chapter 21, verse 7, it says, he who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Man, those are great words, great things for us to look forward to. So we're out of time. Tom, you're such a blessing to my life. Thank you, brother, for being on today.
Here's to you, bro.
Yeah, and we love you, man. So that's it. Any ending words, Tom?
No, God bless y'all.
All right. Thanks, Tom. God bless y'all.